You doing the WWE?
3, 2, 1. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Steve, the Dick, with HeadKick Audio, Episode 1. My co-host to my left is Crazy J.
What's up? What's up?
And on producing duties, we got my wife, Julie.
Hello.
Alright, so crazy fucking weekend of fights, man. Crazy fucking weekend of fights. Talk to me, John. Talk to me.
Dude, they were really intense, really crazy, really fun to watch.
So we had what we watched anyway. We had LFA 63, Bellator 219, and UFC on ESPN 2 or UFC Philly, however you want to call it. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with Access TV, and with there being so much to cover, and also us having an interview with Drew. Sorry, Drew. With Drew Dober. Try saying that 10 times fast, or just one time fast. One time fast. Anyway, we had an interview with Drew Dober a couple days ago. By the time you guys hear in this podcast, it'll be more than a couple days ago. But yeah, so that'll be towards the end of the episode. So make sure you stick around for that. Super fun interview. Yeah, LFA 63. Pretty dope card from start to finish. They had Dana White in the house, so I think that kind of produced some of the results that we get to. Two decisions on the card. So we'll start from bottom to top. Ow! I punched myself in the fucking ear. Bottom to top. All right, John, go ahead.
All right. So we've got Jonathan Patti. He fought. God, I can't even remember.
Kaylin Hill.
Kaylin Hill.
And let me tell you, it was not a potty.
No.
Okay.
Shit.
Armando Villarreal versus Devin Miller. Knockout round 3. Early round 3. Did I miss that fight?
I was doing homework and trying to watch the fights too, so I probably missed that one.
Yeah, that doesn't even sound like familiar at all. Rafael Barboza defeats Cameron Graves via unanimous decision. Okay, I just can't read. Haley Cohen defeats Sarah Click via rear naked choke round 2. Gabriel Silva knocks out Jake Heffernan. Is that the takedown after the knockout? Is that the fight?
Yeah, that was the fight that after he got hit, this guy is celebrating. In the background, you see the referee get put into a ground technique. And he put the guy that got knocked down into a half guard, and he was like, "Hey, the fight's over." And the guy's like, What's going on?" Like the guy had his corner, the ref, even the fighter that knocked him out was like, "Hey, the fight's over. Are you good?" And he just looked like he wasn't there anymore.
That's good shit. Good shit. And in the main event, D-Rock Krantz knocks out Justin Patterson in one of the... Oh, there was actually quite a few knockouts this weekend. A few scary ones too. But this one, man, visually a scary looking knockout. Talk to me about the legs, man.
I mean, I've seen knockouts before, but this one might top the cake a little bit. This dude got rocked, and once he got hit once, and then you could already tell he was, out. But then he got hit again, and literally spaghetti legs. He like folded, literally
spaghetti legs. I like that.
Literally folded in half. Even the commentators are like, "Knockout, cool. How the fuck are his legs?"
Yeah, kind of a little bit reminiscent of Nico Price, Tim Means, where in this case, I don't think there was any real damage done to the legs of Patterson, so hopefully, and if so, hope he heals well. But Derek Krantz, I actually heard that he is getting an opportunity to be on UFC's Dana White's Contender Series.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd been in the LFA for a long time, knocking dudes out left and right. You know, of course he's had a setback here and there, but still one of the more known fighters for LFA. So I think personally he shouldn't have to go through some fucking contender series or Dana White's looking for a fight or any of those extra little fucking things that Dana's got going on the side. I think you probably could just enter this guy into, you know, the UFC and, you know, just bypass all the bullshit. But, again, you know, you're talking about the 170-pound division. It's completely fucking stacked as it is right now, so maybe that's what Dana's looking at. I have no fucking idea, but I believe this guy's UFC ready and he's got some potential.
Yeah, he sure showed it.
All right, and then real quick before we move on, how about that Haley Cohen defeating Sarah Click? This girl kind of looked like a badass, and she wasn't bad on the mic and not hard on the eyes either. So I could definitely see Dana White scooping this chick up. Pretty big for the 125-pound division. I mean, yeah, I don't see Dana waiting on this one.
Yeah, he shouldn't. I mean, she looked really, really good in the octagon. She kept her composure. She followed up with her combos and stuff like that. Sarah Click just didn't look like she had any answer to anything that she had.
She's really undersized, really undersized. So, you know, Cowan just using her like physical attributes to help her, you know, get the finishing sequence, rear naked choke. So, LFA 63, awesome card, like I said, from start to finish. But we're going to go ahead and move on over to Bellator 219. Syed Awad versus Brandon Gertz. And, you know, we're just going to go over the main card. You know, some of you guys may have watched the preliminary card, which was probably on like the Zone or MMA Junkie. So shout out to both of those, I guess, platforms. Real quick though, our boy, what's his name? The fucking Barbarian. Help me out here. Help me out here, guys. The damn Rickles. Rickles, right? Dave, is it Dave Rickles? I don't know. Scroll down on the thing. Show me. I think it's Dave Rickles. Yeah, David Rickles. Yeah, see, so he was on the undercard or the post card, whatever you want to call it, and he got a win, which probably puts him up there with you know, the most fights and most wins in Bellator history. So good for him. And he finally shaved his fucking head. The guy's younger than me and's got, you know, fucking receding hairline, bald in the back. Like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know. He had a little stunner at the end, too, so that was pretty fucking cool. So, shout out to Dave Rickles. Nice TKO there. Bellator 219. Pretty fucking good card. It had a lot of fucking storylines. Sorry, I had to repeat that one. Joe Schilling coming back, looking like more like an MMA fighter and less like, you know, a kickboxer. Hit Keith Berry early on in round one and didn't really like get that back. You know, the rest of the fight was pretty back and forth, but I think Joe did a little bit to edge out each round, except for, I believe it was one of the rounds. What is going on here?
What happened?
I don't know. There's something in my shirt. Probably a fucking bug or something. Anyway, one of the rounds, I can't recall which one it was. I don't have detailed notes like this guy over here. But one of the rounds, it was close to being finished. Yeah, so Joe Schilling, I believe he's now like 3-5 in MMA. So he says he's taking it more seriously, a full-time MMA fighter. So he's not dicking around and with the kickboxing or the Muay Thai or anything like that. He's focused purely on MMA, training out there with Donald Cerrone.
Yeah, I think maybe if he would have maybe went to doing the MMA before doing this. Like, instead of paying attention to all the other stuff he was doing, maybe in that first round he might have walked away with a TKO victory or something, or maybe even knockout.
Well, I mean, it kind of shows like his growth as an MMA fighter, because in kickboxing, yeah, you hit the guy and he falls down, you just come in and finish him, right?
Yeah.
But in MMA, if you go to finish a guy, he could turn around, he could grab your ankle and snap it in half.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
and he was fighting a guy who was like, I don't know what the guy's record is, but it was almost like a 500 record. So the guy's had a lot of fights in MMA, a lot of experience. So I could see, you know, Joe Schilling not wanting to go in there and, you know, get his fucking leg snapped. I get it, you know. And he went through 3 full rounds of MMA fighting, even got a cool couple little sweeps while they were on the ground, so it's showing that he's actually working that.
Mm-hmm.
So good for him. I'm happy for him that he got the win, and if he's focused and you know, ready to just, you know, make MMA his sole deal, then what do we got here? This was the Keith Berry's record. What is it?
15, 1-1.
Yeah, so he was 15-14 coming into that fight.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah. Talk to me about Andrei Korshkov, former Bellator welterweight champion.
Looked pretty good. The fight was going back and forth. You know, I go to school as well, so I was trying to do school and watch the fight, so I maybe missed a couple of things that were like really like interesting about the fight. But Andre, he did come out with the victory. I want to say it was a split decision,
no,
unanimous decision. That's what it was.
And it was a pretty rather dominant performance from Andrei Korshkov. His original opponent, Lorenz Larkin, was forced out of the fight, so Mike Jasper actually steps in on short notice, and you could tell he just wasn't ready, at least not for that caliber of an opponent. So, you know, maybe Bellator keeps him on and takes their time with him. I could see him, you know, getting better, learning from this loss, but definitely not ready for, you know, one of the guys that held the belt. I mean, it's just as simple as that. And then Daniel Strauss, bro, this storyline is nuts. It's nuts. He is a 2-time featherweight champion. This fight actually took place at lightweight. And I think he's working his way back down to featherweight. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that. But he was actually in like a really bad accident where, you know, the doctors are telling him he's never going to fucking walk again. And here he is, winning a fucking cage fight. Like, how fucking crazy is that? I mean, some of the storylines in MMA are just incredible. So, and that's why we love the sport. But he comes back and gets a rear naked choke.
Yeah, well, he actually didn't really have the choke all the way in. He had his arm around the jaw, and I guess he's just got so much strength in his biceps and his forearms, just fucking cranked it. And
well, if Daniel Strauss is hugging your chin as hard as he can, you're gonna fucking tap. I mean, that's a strong dude, and I don't know about you, but I value my chin very much. Very much. I don't need that thing snapped off. So, like I said, Daniel Strauss comes back from a lot of adversity, and I think, you know, Bellator can run with this, definitely. It's not that Daniel Strauss, you know, didn't already have, you know, accolades and a storyline before all this happened to him. So, it's really cool to see a guy battle back from adversity and, you know, kind of get back to the top.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Tell me you watched this main event.
Oh, yeah. I watched this main event.
Okay,
This
all
was
right.
really good.
All right, so Brandon Gertz defeats Simon Stones did it again. Sayad Awad via unanimous decision, and really, like, I mean, I wouldn't be upset if somebody would have said, Syed's pressure would have won him the fight.
Mm-hmm.
He gave away like maybe 1 or 2 takedowns, but Brandon wasn't able to like hold him down for an entire round or anything like that. But dude, back and forth action for fucking 3 rounds. I say neither of these guys are really in the title picture, so why not run it back? Is that being selfish or?
Well, I mean, I'd go with go with number 2.
I'd watch these guys fight every day if they just fought like that.
Yeah,
I could watch that every day.
Yeah, there was a lot of hard hitting action too. So I mean, there was not a dull moment in that fight.
No, like I said, it was pretty good. So, but I have to wonder. Syed usually comes out of fights with like broken hands and shit. So, and with the type of leather he was slinging, I can't imagine his hands are okay. And G.O.A.T has got a very, very hard head. He was cut early, but that didn't seem to phase him too much. So, that's just me being, selfish and wanting him to go rounds 4 through 6. What's up?
Mm-hmm. Well, do you also think that when fighters get cut and they feel their own blood, or they look down or something and they see their blood, do you think that kind of gives them like, oh shit, I got to do something, and that kind of sparks them a little bit?
Yeah. With some fighters, like your Brandon Gertzes or your fucking Justin Gaethjes, your Dustin Poiriers, some of these top level guys, or guys that are known for wars. Sometimes it is like they see their own blood, and it's just like, all right, fuck yeah, I'm gonna make you bleed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a lot of dudes out there that probably see their own blood, and they start thinking, oh shit, I'm losing the fight. Or maybe it's like I'm cut, so I gotta cover my cut, or just trying to avoid damage the rest of the fight. So I'm glad that there are fighters out there like that, where they embrace the blood.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a cool fucking band name. Embrace the blood. Anyway, so speaking of Brandon G.O.A.T, we actually caught up with his teammate a couple days ago. So just like I said in the beginning of the interview, at the beginning of the podcast, we did an interview with Drew Dober. So we're gonna go ahead and let that play through, and then we'll talk UFC on ESPN2, Barboza versus Gaethje.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we're on with Drew Dober. Say what's up.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up?
All right, so excuse me. We're it was a freaking mess when you called me an hour ago, and it got even messier. We actually had to reschedule with Pat Miletich because I got my time zones confused, much like I did with you.
Yeah, it's all good. You have no idea how many times I get my time zones confused. Like before a fight, you get so many like options of big interviews, and like they're all over the place, and so I get absolutely confused all the time. Like our interview where I called you like an hour ago.
Yeah, these things happen. So, how's the arm, man? How's it feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it's feeling like I was in a fight where a guy tried to rip my arm off. But I saw a therapist, and all the essential parts are intact. And so really just feels like, if you ever like sprained an ankle or like rolled your ankle, that's how my elbow and wrist feel.
Okay. All right. Now, when Dariush had that submission locked in, it took a while for you to tap. What was going through your mind? Were you just trying to, power through, or?
So, right, like, before he hooked up the submission, I heard one of my cornermen say it was like 20, 25 seconds. And so then he hooked up the submission, I was like, all right, well, I have short time. And so, like, I felt and heard my elbow pop a couple times, but I was like, I got more than one arm, I'm fine. But then as I kept, like, shaking him to get, like, my head loose, and actually tightened up the choke, and then, of course, his other leg was, like, trapped underneath my leg, so, like, it was, like, checkmate. And so with, like, 10 seconds left, I either was going to tap out or pass out, so those were my options.
Damn, you're a fucking monster. With a whole 5 minutes left, I think I'm tapping to that, so.
But no, it was definitely slick. I mean, it definitely proves that Darush is just one of the best ground fighters in the lightweight division.
Yeah, I mean, you were having some success on the feet, and I think, do you think autopilot took over, or did you want to kind of show off your ground game? What happened there?
Oh yeah, when I shook him off and then I initiated the grappling again.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, it was just like in the heat of the moment, and I was underneath another man trying to elbow me in the face for like 3 minutes, and so I finally escaped, and you just want to take a deep breath, and so I had his back, which is an offensive position, so I was like, I'm going to take his back, take a deep breath, and then game plan from there, like figure out the next move. And just unfortunately, it was just bad game planning. I definitely should have just allowed him to get up to his feet, take a deep breath, like in the standing position. So unfortunately, it was just a bad in the moment judgment call.
Okay, well that's no knock to your skill set, your skill set or your career in general. You've been in the UFC for quite a while, and you've fought at 55 and you fought at 70. Which do you prefer?
I prefer 165.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm one of those individuals that are just too big for lightweight, but too small for welterweight. I mean, you put me up against like lightweight guys, like I have to cut a significant amount of weight. But you put me up next to like Taiwan Woodley, and I'm small, in comparison. And the welterweight division is just stacked full of wrestlers, and so that strength and size advantage, plays a significant advantage. So I'm sticking to lightweight until they open up a 65 weight class.
Which I really do hope that Dana White is just full of shit and the 65 division comes soon. I think the MMA in general needs it. I think the gap between 55 and 70 is just way too big. You either have guys like you that are undersized for 70 and too big for 55, or guys that are cutting from 200 plus just to get down to 70. It's just too big of a gap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dana White said that, females will never fight in the UFC and this and that, So you're going to take everything that, he says with a grain of salt. And, like, with the 125-pound division, with the confusion there, and then the female divisions, and it's like, there's definitely going to be a change. It's just a matter of when. And I think it's the UFC's best interest, with the ESPN Plus, promotions every weekend to have more weight categories. Now you can put on bigger and better fights all the time, with this new love of like the champs and like the cross division super fights. Like you add another division, and now you're gonna have more super fights or more champs.
Well, I mean, champs aside, another belt it'll spicing up a pay-per-view or a free card. I just think that it's a money move that the UFC just needs to fucking make already. Yeah.
I mean, UFC likes having title fights, with an interim title or like the defending title, just adding another division, and especially maybe like a cruiserweight division as well. You're just gonna have more title fights, more interest, more buzz around fights. I think it'd be mutually beneficial for both fighters and the promotion.
I agree. I just think he's too attached to the 170 weight class. I think that's what it probably is, and I don't know. Somebody needs to knock some sense into that guy because it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
All right.
But, I worry about what I can control, and right now, 55 is where I got to be.
Okay. Now, like I said, you've been in the UFC for a long time. You fought a lot of, name opponents. And when I say name, I mean, your Dariush's, your Berkmans, which that was a sick KO, by the way. You fought a lot of guys where their names carry a lot in the sport. Now, is it more important to you to have that UFC gold around your waist, or are you okay with having a legendary or just a notable career like your Dan Hendersons and your Chael Sonnens?
Yeah, I mean, I'm chasing that belt. I want to go for that belt. But, I had to be real with myself. And, like, the idea of having a career like Donald Cerrone or Kenny Florian, where, you get close to the title, but you just have a legacy of just fantastic fights, I'd be absolutely satisfied with that. And that's why I'm super eager to, like, test myself and have fantastic fights with just tremendous fighters. So, yeah, I would be absolutely satisfied with just a legacy of just barn burners and notable fights.
Well, you know, when Drew Dober's on the card, it's going to be a fucking killer fight. I mean, like I said, your stand-up is incredible. I think your ground game is kind of getting closer to where your stand-up is as far as skill is concerned. But during fight week, and, you know, even when you're in the cage in a fucking fist fight, you're always smiling. Why? What is so great about getting punched in the face?
You put two 10-year-old boys on like a recess or a playground, they're gonna end up fighting or like wrestling each other. It's just like human nature, what boys do. And you know, I consider what I do my job, my hobby. It's the thing that I love to do, and I get to be a Power Ranger or a superhero for my job. I get to go in and get the fist fight with another, awesome martial artist in front of millions of people. And, I don't know, to me, it's electrifying. I get goosebumps just talking about it. It's just so much fun, and I have so much passion and love for the sport. And so, even with my fight with Benil Darush, it's like I respected him. I admired his previous fights. I thought he was extremely talented. So when I got offered that fight, I was absolutely, I would love to test myself against a guy that I think is like a tremendous martial artist. And I just vividly remember in the fight, he hits me with this nice jab, and I'm like, I just get a smile on my face because like that's what I expect. I want I want an awesome fight, and a fight that like the audience is on their feet or on the edge of their feet applauding.
Okay, so let me ask a bonus question for me before I turn it over to my co-host. Do you prefer like a fight of the night type fight, or do you prefer just hitting the guy with the first punch you throw?
Can I get both? I think for my health, the performance of the nights are definitely not better. But fight of the nights are fantastic too. That fight I had with Frank Camacho,
Ooh.
I mean, split decision, super close. We traded over like 300 plus blows to each other's heads. Like, I still talk about it. It's pretty awesome, and I'll take both. If I can have a drag out war, that'd be great. If I can get a first round knockout, that'd be awesome. If I get a drag out war where I knock him out at the end, that'd be even better.
Yeah, get the dual bonus, right?
yeah, definitely. Dollar signs is a definite bonus to punching each other in the face.
Right on. Now, excuse me. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to my co-host, Crazy J. What you got for Drew Dober, my man?
Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, it's a pleasure talking with you.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's a pleasure talking with you.
Oh, it's a pleasure talking to you, man.
With all this fight talk, what was your most memorable fight that you've had in your entire career?
Oh my God, there's so many of them. Like, fights are like little babies. Each one of them has their own like long story. Like, I had multiple fights that could be just turned into a movie, like a Rocky movie. But my win against Jamie Varner was super significant.
I saw that live, by the way.
So I had a fight where trying to get into the UFC. I heard there was this guy that put some UFC eyes on him in Denver, Colorado. He was the champion, like undefeated, knocking everyone out in the first round. But I was like, this is the guy that I want to take out and get the eyes on me. And so I raised my hand, got that fight offer, and this dude hit like a truck, dropped me 3 times in the first round.
Oh shit!
And he's never been out of the first round, so I survived, made it to the second round, and I was like, all right, we're going to test his durability, test his heart, and I ended up winning the second round. And then the third round was like super close, but ended up getting the split decision at the end. So that was a pretty rocky fight where I get knocked down 3 times in the first round and ended up winning the next 2 rounds to get a split decision. And then following up with I get signed by the UFC immediately after that fight.
Anytime something like that happens, it's always worth all the training and all the sacrifice that you got to put in to get there.
Yeah, and that was just one of those fights where a lot of people in Colorado still remember me from that fight. So I mean that's kind of just what excites me. Just whether I get knocked down or get a first round knockout, it's just being a memorable fighter and a fighter that as soon as you see my name on the card, you're like, oh, we got to get this pay-per-view because we know it's going to be a war.
Yeah, exactly. Now when you're going through training, getting ready for a fight, how hard is it balancing with the fight training and still living your personal life?
It is difficult. You're definitely going to set time aside. I feel one of the hardest parts of fighting is you can't really check out. You can't really clock out. You're like mentally and physically engaged like 24/7. So while I'm in camp, I always designate a Saturday and Sunday to my significant other and family and friends and stuff like that, and that's the time where I relax. Monday through Friday you're getting beat up for a living, and you're so mentally exhausted, and it starts feeling like a job. And so the Saturday and Sunday I just try to do something that doesn't regard to fighting. So just spending time with my girlfriend, playing some video games, going to Barnes & Nobles, reading a book, just trying my best to balance the life out. And then, of course, when the fight's over, I travel, see the world, and try to step away from the gym for a week or two.
Oh, nice. Kind of recharge the batteries a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely going to find balance, especially in this lifestyle.
Gotcha. And my final question for you, man. Who do you want to fight next? Does it matter who you want to fight, or is there someone in particular that you would like to trade blows with?
Oh, man, I wouldn't say there's a specific person in mind, but just this weekend, having the ability to fight Edson Barbosa would be absolutely fantastic. It's the idea of just two strikers trading with each other. This Alex Hernandez kid, he's super athletic, and he's super impressive, so I'd really love to fight him too. But honestly, I'll take whatever. I'll just make an entertaining fight out of whoever is given to me.
Well, there's no easy fights in the UFC, and I think either candidate that you mentioned, Hernandez or Barbosa, would produce fucking fireworks.
Absolutely. And just for me, it's just exciting to fight a name. But to be honest, I'm one of those people that believe that with this ranking system and the title fights, all stuff, it's not who you fight, it's how you fight. So you just put anybody with 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs with a killer mentality in front of me, and I'm going to make a barn burner and fireworks out of it, and then I'm going to push my way up that ladder.
Hell yeah. Man, you got me fired up, and you ain't even got a fight booked. Oh, man.
This is how I live every day. I get up and I'm like, oh, man, I get to do this. This is amazing. Once I make the weight, I get to have fun. It's great.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you as much time as you want. There is no cap on this. I'm not going to, do that to any of my guests ever. The floor is yours. You got sponsors, you got coaches, training partners, family. You want to give any shout outs or, push your sponsors? The floor is yours, sir.
Oh, gosh. I mean, you don't have to take an hour because the amount of help that I get from everybody, I can't name everyone. I can thank my mom for just putting up with my crap and my girlfriend. But to be honest, Team Elevation out here in Denver, Colorado, I couldn't have a better team. And the guys, just below the UFC are about to make some big movements into the UFC, and then we got Justin Gaethje fight tomorrow night. Just my team is so supportive, so brilliant, a bunch of geniuses and monsters in the combination. I just have to thank them.
All right. Any plugs for your sponsors?
Oh, sponsors. I actually don't have any sponsors coming to mind currently. I could probably toss out a Booster fight gear. They've always helped me out get training gear, training supplies. That's probably the most expensive, business expensive that we have is wrapping leather around our hands and shins so we don't hurt each other. So they help me out supplying me with the best gear available.
All right. Well, if that's all the shout outs you got, I'd like to give a shout out to you. You've been dancing with me pretty well over the last couple weeks, trying to get this damn thing done, and I just want to thank you for putting up with the dance, I guess.
Oh no, I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity and being able to talk to you guys. I guess lastly, while I'm here, I can give a shout out to my girlfriend Victoria, who always puts up with my mood swings during weight cut.
Yeah, you know,
That's a solid sponsor right there.
Hell yeah, get that girl a belt. She deserves it, damn it.
Yeah, I know, right? What's worse than being a fighter than being a fighter's girlfriend, because you got to deal with like all the emotional swings without the glory of the win.
All right. Well, again, I want to thank you for your time. As soon as you get the next fight booking, let's do this again. I want to help you promote your fight as much as possible. Like I said, you're a very entertaining fighter. I love watching you fight. Like you said, when Drew Dober's on that card, I know I have to watch it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So when you get that nice...
Sooner than later. I hate sitting out and waiting for a fight, so definitely got my fingers crossed waiting for the email from Sean Shelby. So I'll definitely make the announcement, let you guys know, and anytime you guys want me to speak with you guys, just let me know. I'm all about it.
All right. And is the... Are you training 100% or...
I'm slowly getting back into it. My last arm isn't completely 100%, but yeah, I'm always trying to get better.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, sir. That is Drew Dober, ladies and gentlemen, UFC lightweight, 3-1 in his last 4, coming off a heartbreaking loss, but we know he'll be back. Look out for a fight announcement coming sooner rather than later, and when it does get announced, just know you're in for a treat. Thank you, Drew Dober, for the time, and yeah, like I said, keep in touch.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right, man. You have a good one.
You too.
All right, bye-bye. All right, UFC on ESPN2, Barbosa versus Gaethje, UFC Philly. I kind of like that one. They were doing Philadelphia. That was the hashtag that I was seeing out there, but I liked Philly. It's just nice and short, UFC Philly.
City of brotherly love.
Ooh, and there was so much brotherly love in that main event.
Oh, yeah.
Between Gaethje's fist and Barbosa's face. That was such a fucking sick main event. And really, I don't know what's going on, but with Bellator, UFC, LFA, all the main events as of late have just produced storylines. They've produced fireworks. They've produced something for jackasses like me and fucking Crazy J over here to fucking sit in our fucking studio at 12:30 in the morning on a Saturday to fucking yap about how fucking cool this shit is. So, yeah, thanks, universe. Keep that shit up, because not only is it creating something for us to talk about, but goddamn is it entertaining to watch.
Hell yeah, it is.
I was fucking... Man, I don't even know, like, how to explain.
Well, sometimes, we see fights and it's kind of like, okay, they're just kind of working, whatever. But sometimes...
Not tonight!
Yeah, not tonight! But, we can get comfortable, sitting on the couch or recliner or whatever, and, it may be a little bit of a snoozer, but not tonight. I was on the edge of my seat the entire night. These fights were so good.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and break these fights down, and we can go a little bit more into detail because it is fresher in our minds, and we were able to catch the entire card. I really like what the ESPN is doing with the UFC fights. They're a lot more fast-paced than the Fox cards or wherever they were before they were at Fox. And this one was actually earlier in the day. I think the fight started at like 2:30 in the afternoon, and we were done by like 7, 8 o'clock. I mean, of course, we're a little bit behind because some of us like to grab a burr or two and head outside and just blow smoke or whatever. But yeah, I like the pacing of these ESPN cards, and I don't mind the earlier cards because then it gives me, I can sit there and eat all the chicken I want on a lovely Saturday evening.
Like a gangsta.
She called you a gangster. Oh, that's funny.
Yep. Only true gangsters eat pieces of chicken in a fucking hot dog bun.
Hey, don't knock it until you try it, right?
It was so delicious.
I bet. Throw some fucking mustard on that bad boy, or is that taking it too far?
It probably could have used some mustard. I ate that shit dry.
Okay. What about... well, I mean, I guess it depends
like
on...
a gangsta.
So do you think like it needed like some Dijon, some spicy brown, or my horseradish mustard, or just some traditional yellow?
Some honey Dijon. Spice
Honey
it up a little.
Dijon.
Honey Dijon mustard, yeah.
Oh, you want some spice? You gotta try that horseradish. Horseradish. What the hell am I saying over here? Get the fuck off of that microphone, you idiot. The horseradish mustard. It's pretty fucking tasty. That's what I eat on my sandwiches.
To be honest, I've never had it before.
Well, I'm gonna have your wife make you a sandwich. I ain't making you shit.
Come on, you can make me a sandwich.
No, because I don't make them with love. I make them with mustard. All right. UFC Philly. Let's start with the early prelims that were on ESPN Plus. Your regular prelims were on ESPN, the big one, and then so was your main card. So this was the second edition of UFC on ESPN. Early prelims, it was Alex Perez defeating Mark De La Rosa via unanimous decision. That was kind of a snoozer of a fight. And unfortunately, my ESPN Plus was kind of cutting out during Marina Moroz versus Sabina Mazo. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for that. Sabina Mazo, she came up through the LFA brand and probably comes to the UFC a little bit too early or fighting somebody with too much experience. Maybe you give her another debutee. I don't know. The matchmaking on that was, I think they were trying to produce fireworks. Marina, traditionally is a striker and not afraid to stand, but was kind of using her muscle and her experience in the UFC and, her ground game to kind of neutralize Mazo's kicks and whatnot. But like I said, most of that fight, ESPN Plus kind of, I don't know where it went. And then Casey Kenny, our boy, AZ. He defeats Ray Borg via unanimous decision. Call it controversial if you want. I know Ray Borg is very heartbroken, but I didn't disagree with the decision. And had they said it was Ray Borg, I would not have disagreed with this decision. I think this probably could have been a draw if they really fucking felt like it. Doesn't matter. Casey Kenny, he gets the win. Taking the fight on 6 days' notice just after, becoming a champ over at the LFA last week.
Yeah, that's insane. The fucking fight last week, and then, oh, hey, you want to fight next week at this? And he's like, yeah, sure.
And if I'm not mistaken, they were in Texas last week. So he's from Arizona, and then he goes and fights in Texas to get his second, consecutive, or, it's not consecutive. When they're holding a simultaneous championship in the same organization. And then a week later, they're like, hey, yeah, you're going to Philly because you're going to fight Ray Borg. A guy that went almost 5 rounds with, I'm not even sure if it was 5 rounds, but he fought Demetrius Johnson. And he didn't look like a total bum when he was fucking fighting him. So, dude's been at a championship level before in the UFC, and Casey Kenny comes in and, hey, steals a win. I can't help but feel happy for the guy. Been through a lot of shit, getting to, scratching to get to the UFC. So, good for him. All right, talk to me about Kevin Holland and his win over Gerald Meerschaert.
That was a really, really good fight. A lot of back and forth. Hard hits. To me, it seemed like they were starting to get a little bit gassed there towards the end. But, trying to go the distance, man, you're going to get winded. So,
I'll tell you what, I'm probably close to 185 pounds right now. And, I'm only 5'6", so that probably tells you that I'm fat. But yeah, at 186 pounds, which these guys are now hydrated and, fighting in a fist fight in a cage. See, I can only imagine. But it seemed that Gerald got gassed towards like the end of the first, middle of the second. And I don't know if Holland just kind of, went down to that level where, okay, this guy's gassed, so maybe I don't have to do as much, or I don't know. It seemed that the pacing of the fight was where Gerald wanted it, and Kevin Holland just did enough to stay out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
It was a grapple-heavy affair, which Kevin had stated in his post-fight speech and his interviews that he just wants to bang. I think the UFC should do him a solid and put him in there with the striker.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested in to see what they do with this Holland guy next. But yeah, kind of. I mean, it was exciting, for as exciting as two gas middleweights could be. At least they were transitioning. They were both looking for the finish. I don't think it was like super sloppy. You know what I mean? It could have been way fucking worse.
Yeah.
But I can kind of see where Kevin's like, I know how to grapple, and everybody knows I can grapple. Put me in there with the striker. It kind of sounds like he just wants to help with our job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For the dumbasses that sit in front of microphones or type on computers and bullshit about MMA as if we're in the cage with them. So like I said, I think UFC should probably just do this guy a favor and put him in there with somebody that would produce the style of fight that he wants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the middleweight division, you could do that with a whole bunch of motherfuckers. All right, Kevin Aguilar. What's this dude's nickname?
Angel of Death.
That's right. The Angel of Death. Another LFA veteran. He held the 45 strap over there. Really fun to watch. This guy's very, very, heavy-handed and flat-footed. Like, this dude, his footwork, he's got decent footwork, but it's almost non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost non-existent. So, yeah, tell me about this fight.
It was pretty good. A lot of striking, grappling.
Attempts at grappling.
Attempts at grappling. Yeah. What was it? I kept getting confused. It was Aguilar that was going for the takedowns, right? I was getting the colors confused.
Okay, so Barzola is the guy that generally is trying to take guys to the ground, and 9 times out of 10, the dude lands the takedowns, and I think he attempted some 10 plus takedowns.
Yeah.
And there was a flash, he had him on the ground for a second, but as soon as Aguilar's butt hit the floor, he was right back on his feet.
It's like he had a bouncer on that thing, just hit and boom, right back up.
Yeah, good fun fight though.
Yeah, very, very fun fight. I just hate that, I don't know my words.
We'll get there, baby. We'll get there. All right, moving on up. Desmond Green defeats Ross Pearson via TKO. Desmond kind of looked like a welterweight in there with Ross Pearson.
Say that again?
All right, I said Desmond kind of looked like a welterweight in there with Ross Pearson.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually, I'm still kind of new to the whole thing. So, seeing, the weight classes and stuff, and then I see how some of these guys are kind of built. It's like, wait, they're lightweights, but they look like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Welterweight?
Yeah, welterweights. So it's kind of like, I'm fucking 5'7", 320. So I'd be fucking fighting, Mark Hunt and fucking Brock Lesnar's and shit. And these guys, they look like that, but they're fucking built, and it's kind of amazing, just to me.
Well, the interesting part of the weight classes and when these guys pick a weight class that fits them real well. Like, a Desmond Green or a Ross Pearson. Ross has fought as low as featherweight. It was kind of a mixed bag with results down there. But has fought most of his career at lightweight. And then you see a guy like Desmond Green, who's fucking huge for the weight class. Got a really long reach. Mm-hmm. And, probably could fight at welterweight if he was, just tired of fucking cutting weight. But these guys, they want as many advantages as possible, so they cut to as little as they can, and you're starting to see a trend. You're starting to see a trend of kind of veteran fighters that have been doing this a while, and they're just like, fuck it. I'm tired of cutting weight. I'm always miserable. And then when they move up to the weight class, they have some success. Look at your guys like Anthony Pettis just last weekend. Fucking knocked out a big welterweight in Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Superman punch.
Yeah, like a fucking Anthony Pettis style off the cage. You know what I mean? Or Rafael Dos Anjos, who was, really close to a title shot. Or Cowboy Cerrone, who had won like 4 in a row. You know what I mean? Some of these lightweights that move up because it's just like, I'm fucking sick of it, which kind of tells you, everybody, that the UFC and MMA in general needs a 165-pound division. It gives you another belt that you can throw on any fucking pay-per-view, and then guess what? When that fucking champion gets hurt, you can just pull one of them fucking interim things at the fucking closet. Do the 165-pound division. It'll do the entire sport and your company a favor. Anyway, but like I said, you see these guys that, they're fucking sick of it. They just, they move up, and some of them have success and some of them don't. And the ones that don't are generally the guys that could benefit from the 165. Chiesa had moved up and he won. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know where I would fight, because when I did my amateur fights, when I got down to 132, like, I didn't really have to cut any weight. I just got in really awesome shape. So maybe I'm a 25er. Not now. I'm a fucking middleweight now, buddy. But, yeah. So, anyways. Fantastic fight. Fantastic finish.
TKO, by the way.
Yeah. Desmond lands a takedown and just, relentless with the... I don't know if it's like ground and pound if they're up against the cage like that. I don't know, but he just, he threw probably 15, 20 punches unanswered. Ross was just focused on getting up instead of protecting his head. So the ref waves it off at 2:52 in round 1. So Desmond looking for a quick turnaround. I believe Rochester, New York, something like that. I guess the UFC's going there next month, and he says, "Get me on that bitch."
I would.
Injury-free, coming off a TKO win like that, you could probably get him in there with somebody. And especially since, if the UFC wants to drive ticket sales, having guys that are from, these cities that they're fighting at, just fucking do it. You know what I mean? All right, so that was your preliminary... like co-main event.
Preliminary co-main.
You forgot one.
No, that was the co-main.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so in the main prelim, or the preliminary main event, you had Marina Rodriguez defeat Jessica Aguilar. What a tough individual Jessica is.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Did you see her face? Did you see her face?
I would not want that face after a fight. I want to try to make my face, still...
recognizable?
Yeah.
I mean, man, she's so tough. Probably too tough for her own good. So I hope the UFC keeps this girl around. Really, really small compared to a lot of the... I think these are 115, so strawweight, right? Yeah. So she's really small, or either this girl was a fucking giant. But, I mean, I've seen Jag in a lot of her UFC fights just look undersized. And I don't think it's a rehydrating issue, because she doesn't look like she's, sucking a lot out of her to get to the weight. I just think she's too, small in stature, and maybe it, might have something to do with tiny arms. But, I mean, I thought I had tiny arms, and, it's just the right arm that's tiny. Anyway, really, really, really fucking fun fight, man. That nose.
Bloody.
That bridge. That forehead. I gotta imagine she's probably got a bloody lip at least. Right? I mean,
everything's bleeding.
Man, those body shots. Man, she's so tough. I don't know.
Yeah.
She could have thrown in the towel. Her team could have thrown in the towel, but they probably knew that she would have kicked their ass. Man.
Yeah. Shit, I think I'd probably kick anyone's asses, throwing in the towel. I didn't tell you to fucking do that. I'm here to fight, not fucking puss out,
Well, and, it all depends on, it's not like she was on the ground getting smashed for 3 fucking rounds. No, she was fighting back. She was just getting pieced up on the feet by a bigger girl, taking a lot of damage. I mean, I wouldn't have been upset had her team thrown in the towel, but obviously they didn't feel that they needed to, and she makes it to the scorecards. Let me see.
Yeah, unanimous decision.
No, I know that. I was looking at the scores themselves. 29-26, 29-27, and 29-27. Sorry, guys, my eyesight sucks. Even though I wear glasses, it don't mean shit. So, let's hope Jag heals up and, the UFC doesn't let her go. At one point in time, actually, I think when they first brought this division onto the UFC, Jag was the number 1 in that weight class for a long time. So, I don't know. I think maybe like 105-pound division would probably suit her better because she's so tiny. But I just don't think there's enough girls to get down there. So I doubt the UFC does it unless they want to take a bunch of the Asian women because they fight like atom weight, like 100 and 105 pounds and shit like that, which is crazy because that's like my left leg. Anyways, your main card opener, Sadiq Yusuf, defeats Shaman Moraes via unanimous decision. It's probably that 3rd round that won it for him, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this one, again, I mean, I've probably beat this to death, but, again, back and forth fight. And I think it was just going to come down to either who was dealing the most damage, or if somebody could get a couple of takedowns in a round.
Oh, these guys weren't shooting no fucking takedowns. No, they were uninterested in takedowns.
But that would have helped, at least cement a decision. But they were ready to go and bang it out.
Yeah, so fun fight, like you said, back and forth, and it was probably that 3rd round knockdown. That sounded pretty cool, 3rd round knockdown. And I didn't even mess that up. I was just surprised I got to do that. Shaman, didn't really do anything after the knockdown to, kind of get it back, to try and steal the round from him. So I think that, like I said, that's probably what won him the fight. And then an interesting call-out afterwards. He called out Kron Gracie.
Yeah.
And this is, Yusuf's a striker. I don't think I've ever seen this guy on the ground. So, I guess it's going to take some balls to call out a Gracie, man.
Yeah, he better brush up on his jiu-jitsu if he wants to win. Or even, attempt to win.
Yeah. All fights start out on the feet, so... And there's probably a method to his madness. There's probably something that he sees, or maybe he's just that fucking nuts and says, no, I want to, like he was saying, he wanted to test himself against, all the different martial arts. And it's like, well, maybe you challenge this guy to a kickboxing match and just tell him, no ground game allowed. Because he fought a very versatile striker in, Bruce Lee way? What's his first name? Alex Caceres. There we go. And got the fight to the ground, and Caceres, he can scramble. He's actually pretty good on the ground, and he still got caught. So hopefully Sadiq knows what he's getting himself into. Speaking of jiu-jitsu, and we're not going to say this Kennedy's last name because we can't pronounce it, so we're going to go ahead and say Kennedy N. Or just Kennedy. But Paul Craig Scott, the Bear Jew is what he calls himself. What do you say? It'll do. It'll do.
That'll do.
That'll do.
I think he should change his nickname from the Bear Jew to fucking Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. That was fucking crazy how we got into that triangle, or how we got Kennedy into the triangle. That was ridiculous. Kennedy tried to pull away. He just held onto his hand. He was like, "Get over here!" and got him right in that triangle. And he had no idea how to even get out of it. He rolled and I guess made it tighter. And before he even finished rolling his body over, he was already tapping out, trying to get out of the hole.
Yeah, I think, Kennedy will learn from this. It was a fight he was obviously winning. I think, he's probably going to get a unanimous decision win had he lasted another, 40 seconds or so. But, I think you hit the nail on the head. Just inexperienced, didn't know what to do, probably never been in that position before in his life. Mm-hmm. And, taps. Hey, don't worry, Kenny. I've been there before. Kennedy, I've been there before. I've been in a choke and didn't know what the fuck to do, so I was tapping saying, come get me out of here. You know what I mean? So I understand that, but you're in the UFC, dog. Let's shore that shit up. So, good win for Paul Craig. He's kind of making a knack of this finishing late in the third round when he's down the first two. So, his striking did look better, though, when he's not getting poked in the eye.
Like 5 times.
Yeah, like I said. But his striking did look improved, so he's kind of starting to show that, he's at least working on it. He doesn't... I don't know if he doesn't want to be known as just a ground guy or, if he's just working on his striking to set up his ground game. But I got to say, I was actually kind of impressed with his stand-up, even though it wasn't to like a Barbosa Gaethje level. But we'll get to that in a fucking second. Jonathan, the next fight is all you, buddy.
Oh, dude. Like, I don't even know why. Well, it's not even like an obsession. It's just... I just liked her whole demeanor and everything. We saw Michelle Watterson, the karate hottie. She fought, what was it, in Glendale, right? Yeah, at the...
I just call it Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix.
I just call it anything north of here.
Well, Glendale,
Phoenix.
yeah, we'll call it Phoenix. And I wish I could remember the girl. What was the girl's name?
Cast Iron Casey.
Yeah, that was a fantastic fight.
The
and
obsession began then.
It did. Well, yeah, fuck it. It's a goddamn obsession. I don't give a fuck. But, I mean, I think I just like that, she was getting, not pummeled in that fight, but, it looked like she was struggling a little bit. And she just never gave up and kept grinding, and she ended up getting that victory. And that's what kind of like got me on the Michelle Watterson bandwagon.
And her butt.
I don't know about her butt, but okay.
Whatever.
It's them thighs, baby. But she defeated, is it Carolina or Carolina? Carolina Cole Kavich. I mean, it was a really good fight, but Michelle Watterson looked like a completely different fighter tonight. She looked like she was more aggressive than last time. Once she got on the ground, it was all over. I think if she would have put her right leg over the chest, she would have had a better grip on that armbar, and she probably would have finished the fight and got a sub. But she didn't, but still got the victory. But she looked a lot better this time around. And I think with her training camp and all that, the people that she's got to help. Also, of course, she wants to be that mama champ. So
hashtag Mama Champ.
That's right. Trying to show her daughter, yeah, you can be beautiful and be tough and beat the fuck out of people too. So
I'm pretty sure she left out the F word when she was talking to her little girl.
I'm pretty sure. I'm a horrible parent, so I don't.
Anyways, you're right. She looked awesome. This puts her, I think, 3 in a row. So it's kind of like a flip of the coin, right? So you have Tatiana Suarez versus, I think it's Nina Ansaroff, which is it's Noon's girl, right? So Nina and Tatiana are also right there in title contention in the 115-pound division. And I think it's kind of up to whoever wins that fight to put on a better performance than Michelle Waterson. Now, I don't see a problem with Michelle getting the fight. I don't see a problem with Tatiana or Nina, whoever wins that fight, getting a shot. But I think either way, it'll all sort itself out, and either or both will get their shot. Maybe one just has to wait. So I don't disagree that Michelle Waterson, deserves a title shot, because I think she does. She's been in the game for a long fucking time. I mean, I remember seeing her in an MTV show where it was like a bully show with that.
Oh, Bully Beatdown.
Yeah, Bully Beatdown. That's what it's called. Okay. I remember seeing her in that, and that was like fucking years ago. I keep on hitting my ear. Yeah. So she's been around for a fucking while. It'll be up to the UFC on what they want to do with that. But so until we get some clarity on that division, it's kind of just up in the air at this point. Josh Emmett, holy shit! You want to talk about a guy who is down and out, and then boom, fuck you, with a fucking huge right hand and all the spit.
Yeah. I thought it was a fucking mouthpiece that came out.
No,
and they played it in slow motion.
Of spit. Oh.
It was like he was getting ready to, he hydrate himself with his own self, and he didn't get that chance because he got knocked the fuck out.
I don't know. I definitely want to get me one of those fucking cameras, because that was intense. I could see all the bubbles in that glob of spit. It was gross and awesome at the same time. But yeah, dude, Josh was kind of getting his ass handed to him, regardless of what him and Uriah Faber and all them say. He was down 2 rounds. There's no way he won the first round. He obviously lost the second round, and he was doing better in the third. If this fight goes the distance, I have it 29-28, Michael Johnson, with him winning the first 2 rounds and Emmett taking the third. Emmett started using his pressure. He was throwing combinations instead of just 1 or 2, and it seemed like he was really starting to put it together. And both these guys were throwing fucking heat.
Yeah, they were.
I wish that commentating booth would get their, little camera or microphone out of my fucking living room, because every time I say something, 10 seconds later, they say the exact same thing. So either I'm better at your job, or you're stealing my shit.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah. We'll have to ask Pat Miletich when we have him on with the Conspiracy Farm. Anyway, yeah. So we could have had a different outcome, had Michael Johnson not just hung around in the pocket a little bit too long. So Emmett came in ranked number 10, so he's obviously looking up. He'll probably move maybe 1 spot, or maybe he doesn't move at all. So he could probably try and, get one of the fights back to like a Jeremy Stevens or a fighter like that, or, maybe fight somebody a little bit higher ranked. Or, maybe if somebody's higher ranked than him, and I don't have the rankings in front of me, but if Ricardo Lamas is still up there in rankings, maybe Ricardo would want that one back. But he looked impressive. It's not that the fight wasn't fun. It was a fun fight. I mean,
it was a very fun fight.
I was entertained, but it just seemed that Michael Johnson was leading the dance and was, kind of putting some distance between him and Emmett. And like I said, had he not got clocked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think what also probably could have happened too is that Michael Johnson was getting a little bit too comfortable in his britches, looked like he was having a lot of fun in there. He'd get tagged, and he'd do his little come on, and laugh it off. But I think he probably did that one too many times and was getting a little bit too comfortable, thinking that he had that shit in the bag. And until that bell sounds and your hand is raised, man. You didn't win shit.
Yeah, like you said, he did look comfortable in there. He looked like he was having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, his fun came to a halt.
Big time.
Because of an Emmett fist put him to sleep. Quickly, the co-main event, it didn't last very long. And as we're watching this fight, okay, Hermanson, gets a nice little trip takedown. And as they're going to the ground, I'm going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why are you going to the ground with a fucking, a badass jits guy? It doesn't make any fucking sense. And then what does he do not fucking 10 seconds later?
Guillotine choke, man.
Fucking submits David Branch. What
Makes
the
him
fuck?
tap.
Man. I was blown away, to say the least.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really saw that coming. Shit. I didn't even see it coming.
Well, David Branch didn't see it coming either. Otherwise, he'd have fucking got the fuck out of Dodge. Even tried to use the fence to help him get out of it for a second. But, god damn. So, now Jack Hermanson, there's a Sweden card coming up. And I think he wants to, bounce across the pond and get on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of these guys are they're wanting to fight more frequently and more frequently. I like it. UFC's putting on a lot of events. We got to fill these cards with a lot of fighters. And, hey. So if a guy fucking wins a fight and he says, I want to get on this card, fucking give it to him. What the fuck? Keep it in your microphone. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
All right. Now let's talk about this main event.
Very exciting. All, 50 seconds of it? No. 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
I was like, that fight didn't even go a minute? Damn.
I was reading the wrong time because I am dumb.
All right, so
2 minutes and 30 seconds, round one. Damn.
Yeah, but it really felt like 50 seconds.
Yeah.
Immediately, Gaethje. Sorry, I got an itch. Gaethje comes out with the leg kicks. Gaethje hitting Barbosa with the leg kicks. Kind of reminded me a little bit of, I think it was Chad Mendes did that to Aldo. It's like, hey, yeah, leg kicks. I know how to throw them too. Probably not, as great as Aldo's, but hey, whatever works.
Mm-hmm.
But Gaethje's leg kicks, they're just as powerful. And if I'm a judge on leg kicks, I say Gaethje's actually looked better than Barbosa's.
Mm-hmm. Sounded like they hit a lot harder too.
Yeah. His forward pressure was kind of allowing him to get those off a lot more than Barbosa's too. And I think Barbosa was kind of telegraphing his a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Gaethje was able to get out of the way of a lot of the kicks with ease. And Barbosa was the guy that came in with the speed advantage. But I guess, when the pressure is on you and you're on the back foot, maybe that speed kind of, maybe that counters the speed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, Gaethje looked fucking awesome. Kind of did what he did to James Vick. Pressured him up, got him up against the fence, and once they got there, he kind of just, hey, damn it, I keep doing that. Hey, my fist wants to meet your teeth. And they said hello. And then they said goodnight because Barbosa was out. He was out before he hit the canvas.
Yeah, he was super out.
Winner, chicken dinner. Son of a gun. And Gaethje, man, you got to have a crazy, I don't know, man. His way of thinking and way of processing. And, when he first came into the UFC, undefeated, champion in other premier organizations. World Series of Fighting, I'll go ahead and say it. I don't work for the UFC. Was kind of just going through fights, not giving a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
You could see him, get a little bit more defensive with his hands, but not really giving a fuck. Just kind of coming forward and doing whatever the fuck he wanted. And, even stated as much, saying that he's looking for his equal. And then he ran into Eddie Alvarez. And then he ran into Dustin Poirier. Now that's no knock. That's two fucking badass fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excuse me. Alvarez was the UFC champ, the Bellator champ, the fucking Dream champ. Fucking probably 13 other fucking champs. Now he's over at ONE FC. Probably going to be the champ over there too. and then Dustin Poirier, like next weekend or sometime next month, he's fucking fighting for a title. So it's not like Gaethje's losing to bums. No, he's losing to world-class fighters.
Mm-hmm.
But when he fucking loses, it's bad. And when he wins, it's worse. It's worse. This guy probably, I don't know, I don't have his record in front of me, but I can't imagine he's been to more than a couple decisions in his life. Just that, like I said, that constant pressure, the heavy hands, the heavy leg kicks, not really giving a fuck. And he knows how to wrestle. Did you know that?
Not after seeing this fight, I would have never even knew he knew how to wrestle.
Yeah, no.
Figured he was all
pretty fucking good at it too.
kickboxing.
Yeah, pretty fucking good at it too. So yeah, that's UFC on ESPN2, Barbosa versus Gaethje, or UFC Philly, #UFC Philly. Like I said, weekend full of fights. There was a couple other cards that we couldn't even get to because the weekend was so fucking busy. You guys next week. Hopefully we got some more content coming your way. We're working on the radio show. We're working on a couple mini series and shorts that we'll be doing throughout the week. So we'll try and promote that for you.
Give us a shout out on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. You know, if you guys listen, you know, give us some feedback. You know.
They're probably going to say that you say you know a lot and that I say fuck a lot. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen.
Well, you know, fuck. Just let us know, like, what we should probably work on. This is our first episode. You know, we want to do this for a while. So, you know, we want to make you guys happy. You know, yeah, we love doing this, but, you know, we also want to put stuff out that you guys like too. So, yeah, let us know. On Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I think that's all.
Also, like I said, next week we should be having Dan Tom from the MMA Junkie radio show and the Protect Your Neck podcast. Check out his podcast, by the way. He does it by himself. He doesn't have a co-host, and it's still entertaining. I need like 4 other people for this to be entertaining. He does it by himself, and he's really good at breaking down fights. And also, I think we're hoping to reconnect with Pat Miletich and possibly Amanda Bobby Cooper, UFC strawweight. Alright, so we will catch you guys next week. I'll come up with a slogan eventually.